Hello, my name is Christopher, and in this video we are going to take a look at the brand new Skoda Enyaq RS Coupe, which I have next to me here. We are going to drive it, we're going to take a look at inside it, and we're going to talk more about how good it is as an EV. For 2024, Volkswagen Group has made some new decisions with their new cars, and this has the new motors that they have developed, which are more effective and also more powerful. These motors, which we have one at the front and one at the back, do 250 kilowatt in effect, 340 horsepower for those of you who prefer that, and can do 0 to 100 in 5.5 seconds. That's not something the old Enyaq RS could do. And these are the same motors as in the ID4 GTX model, and also the Audi Q4 e-tron 50. And we'll still have the same battery with 82 kilowatt hours, 77 kilowatt hours net capacity, and the WLTP rating is a bit better than before because of these new motors. 539 kilometers in this new RS Coupe, which is nice. But we also have the new software in the car, the 4.0 software, and that is important for these cars because these cars will then be able to preheat the battery when it comes to fast charging. And here we are at the charging port. How convenient. When it comes to charging, we have 11 kilowatt AC charging, and for fast charging, DC charging, we have up to 175 kilowatt. And that is easily achieved with the preheating software. I have done 11 to 80% in 28 minutes, and official ratings is actually 20 to 80% in 28 minutes, but as I said, I have done better than that with this new software. So it's very important that if you are going to buy a Skoda RS Coupe or Enyaq or ID4, whatever, later stage, make sure it is the 2024 model or later, because that they have this new software. And we will also take a look at that when we get into the car. But first I want to go to the front of it. Because when it comes to the RS models, you get this crystal face here in the front, and it looks quite cool, I must say, and it also lights up in the dark. I show you some pictures of that. I prefer the original one, or the one you get on the standard Enyaq, where it's just completely black here. I think this looks a bit too much, but I know many people like it, so it doesn't really matter that much. What matters more is the head beams, and these headlights, they are really good, because the Skoda Enyaq RS get these as standard, and these are the best headlights you can get on a standard car, according to me, from Volkswagen Group. Their matrix lights are really good at zoning out other cars, so you can still see on the side of the road but avoid dazzling other drivers. It's really good. I highly recommend them if you don't have the RS model, when you don't have it as standard, basically. But there's no frunk under here, which is sad. So if we want to have something with us, we have to go to the back. When it comes to the back, I must say I don't enjoy it. I usually prefer coupes before the other alternative we have. Like I prefer the ID5 before the ID4, for example, and for the Audi Q4, I think it does better in coupe than in its original form. But for Skoda, I think I prefer the other version, non-coupe. But let's open it up here. And we have 570 liters here for space, which is a lot, and we can get in a lot of stuff here, I think. You can also see the measurements on the screen in centimeters. Maybe I have been nice and do it in inches, we'll see. You can lift up here and store some stuff underneath, but you can't really, there are compartments, so you can't really store a lot of it, and you can't fill it with bags and such. I'm not really sure why they have done it like this. I don't think you're supposed to use it. Too bad. Looking around, we have a 12 volt outlet here. We also can take down the back seats from here, and then we get 1,700 liters, and you can also see the measurements on the screen for that. But there's another thing we can do here. If we press on this one, we get a tow hook. That's nice. Semi-electric one, and this will depend on countries. I know here in Sweden we can tow up to 1,200 kilos with this four-wheel drive Enyaq. If we go for the rear-wheel drive Enyaq, we can tow up to 1,000 kilos, but I think that there are some Swedish rules that limits this. In other parts of Europe you can tow up to 1,400 kilos with the four-wheel drive and 1,200 with the rear-wheel drive. Not really sure why that is, but that's how it is. Also in Sweden, at least, you can get the tow hook for free. It is always included in the standard price when you buy an Enyaq, which is nice. I don't know how it is in other countries, but here in Sweden it is like this. So let's put that back inside like this and close it up. When it comes to having something on the roof, it is of course possible, and you can have 75 kilos there. So for the back seat now, you have lots of headroom, as you can see here. Not a whole fist, but almost, with this panoramic roof, which is standard for the RS model. Also, for the knee room, it is good enough, I would say. This chair will also go a bit forward when someone sits in it, so you get more than it looks like right now. Quality-wise, it is okay. You have some Alcantara on the door and also on the sofa here, and I think the quality is fine. It's not super premium, but you don't buy a Skoda for premium luxury. You buy a Skoda because it's convenient, like this. Just having this built in. That's why you buy a Skoda. Super nice. And also if we turn around, we can take out this one, and we have arm support, and also of course cup holders here. In the middle we have heating for our bums, and also two USB-Cs. We have also some storage down here, which I'm not really sure why we would use, because having a third person back here would be quite difficult now when we have that. So here in the front we still have the Alcantara in the dashboard, on the seats, in the doors, and we have this slime green color, that mamba green, which Skoda calls it, which comes with the RS version. We have this big screen we will talk about later, we have this small screen we will talk about later, and we also have a nice head-up display. Here we have two places for our phones. One of them is a phone charger. That's nice. Here we have cup holders, which we can make into a compartment just by removing the middle part here. And then we have an actual compartment. And then we have some more storage here. Good storage options in the Enyaq, I think. We also have some more storage options under here, underneath, which is fine. For me, I don't know, do you use that space? I never use that space. I don't know what to put there. Please help me out here. Otherwise, I think we're pretty good. I really like these shares that we get in the RS version. They are really supportive and really good when you drive into a corner with the Enyaq RS. We'll see more about that later, if that can be done. But the biggest complaint I have here really is these door handles. They're really plastic, hard plastic, and you can hear me scratching on them. I think it's fine when you're down here, because here you have feet and they get quickly dirty. But here, when you take your hand to open the door, no, that's not good enough. I would have liked to see something else there. Let's talk more about this steering wheel, because I really like this. You get a good grip of it, and you actually get the buttons on the steering wheel. I mean, how good is that? The fact that I even have to emphasize something like this in 2024 is stupid. I really like buttons on a steering wheel, and these buttons are not the best ones, but they are physical buttons. Great for that. We also have something for our adaptive cruise control and steering assist here. We'll talk more about that later, and then we have paddles for regeneration. Talk more about that later. But let's head into the screens here. Here we have the driver display for the Skoda Enyaq. Doesn't look much, and it doesn't really do much either. We can choose what we want to see here with trip meter, navigation and all that, and adaptive cruise control, so forth, but there is really not much to see. What is more to see is if we go up a notch and we can see the head-up display here. This is by far the best head-up display in the car industry, according to me, from the Volkswagen Group, especially with this AR technology where you have the navigation arrows popping up in front of you when you're driving. It's really, really good, and I really enjoy it. If you can afford a head-up display in front of the cars from Volkswagen Group, do it. You will not regret it. And here we have the new 4.0 software. As you can see, it is quite similar to the old one. It's a bit faster, I think, a bit more responsive. And if we navigate to somewhere, I know we have some navigation here to something far away. We can go to that. It will navigate with chargers planned, which is great. We need to stop one more time we have other options as well. That's nice. But the car can plan charges for us, which is what I wanted. We can also go to charging, optimize, and here we can see how fast we would charge if we would plug in a DC fast charger right now, between 83 and 86 kilowatts. And I think this is very nicely done, especially for new users to EV, to understand and know how this works. And we can also start battery heating as well manually if we want, by pressing this button. Of course, we want it to be automatically when we navigate, which will be most of the time. But if for some reason it doesn't, we can go to charging, optimize, and start our charge ourselves, which I really like. I would have preferred these buttons being climate control buttons instead of just shortcuts, which they are right now. For climate, we have to do it like this here, which have been much easier to just use these buttons, but you can't get everything, I guess. This battery preheating thingy makes the Skoda Enyaq so much better than the old one from 2023 and older. I'm sorry for you guys that don't get this. Something I really enjoy when driving the Enyaq is the one-pedal driving. I think Volkswagen Group has really made a good decision with the one-pedal driving, and when you release the pedal now, you brake hard and you can really use the one-pedal driving when you're driving in the city until you reach 6 kilometers an hour. It will continue to roll. It doesn't stop to 0, and I hate that. And I really hope they fixed it someday, because it's the most annoying thing, and what really makes me don't want to buy a Volkswagen car. But if we go over to the D mode, which is normal mode really, we can use these paddles to increase or decrease the regeneration. So now I have max regeneration, and we go down much, or I can just remove it completely and we have no regeneration at all. So that can be done using the paddles if you prefer it that way. I think it's good that you can do it this way, but I also would have really liked, since you have the B mode in the car, just make the B mode to 0, and if you don't want to go down to 0 fully, use these paddles instead. But other than that, driving in the city is quite easy with the Skoda Enyaq. You have large mirrors so you can really see behind you, and you also have the rear camera, which I showed you earlier. You have the 360 camera if you go and get the Max package, which I don't have in this one, since that also have the adaptive chassis, which I would have liked. I can really recommend that, but it's quite expensive. Turning ratio is good. I think it's easy to see where you have the car and where you can place it. Don't have much to say. It has sensors, which is always nice, Tesla, and makes it really easy to know where you are. However, it is an RS model, and again, back to the chassis here. It is a sport chassis, which means that you will notice all the bumps and all the bad roads that you have. And here in Uppsala, we have quite a few of them, so that really feels when you drive over them. But I guess that's part of having an RS model. Yesterday, I had someone came up to me that wanted to say that how good looking my car was. So that was nice, and I guess that is half the reason why you get an RS model, to impress on others. Going on the motorway is really easy. As you can see, you can clearly see the lines here today, as it's pretty good weather, and that means the car will find them very, very easy and place the car in the middle of the lane, which is really good. And I also find that if the car can't find the lines, it will deactivate the steering system and allow me to drive instead, which is much better than in many other cars. I know that Volvo, for example, doesn't do this. It's try to find itself back to the lane and see where the middle is. Polestar does the same thing. And that feels really nervous. But in the Enyaq, I don't find that. It's much easier here. Also, the adaptive cruise control is pretty good with multiple options of distance here. And the car will also slow down and increase the speed when we get to a car, or when we leave for the next lane, switch to the next lane. And in a slow and good manner. I think some cars can be really hasty with that. The Enyaq will do it quite smoothly. I enjoy that. It is quite loud in here though. I don't enjoy that as much. I really thought the Enyaq would be quieter. On the other hand, this is the RS model, so it might be because of that. Except normal mode, you have Eco and Sport mode, of course. And now I am in Eco mode, and it doesn't do much with the chassis since we don't have the adaptive one. You can really feel it when you push the pedal, that it doesn't really happen much. And when it happens, you're really far down with the pedal. So that's what it does basically. You can also feel it in the steering, that the steering is much lighter than it was before. And to be fair, that's really what you want when you go into Eco mode. You don't want as much effect as you might have in the comfort mode, the normal mode. And I really don't get the steering thing. I get it when you are in sport mode, that you want it a bit stiffer, but when you go to Eco mode, do you want it to be lighter as well? I mean, I find that to be another setting, to be fair, but that's how it is. There are some curves coming in the later down here. We can go into sport mode, I think, because RS. Okay, so I just want to go into sport mode here and try 0 to 100. Not much more than this. So we press the pedal now, and we go to 50, 60, 70, 100, 90, 100. I don't know how fast that was. According to specifications, it should be 5.5 seconds. I'm sure I can put on the screen how fast that was, but let's find some corners. When you have an open field like this, you can really push the car. But it is still an SUV, you can really feel that. It is a heavy car. But I really like these motors. They are really good. Now we're coming up to a corner here, and it can handle corners in the way that it can do its weight, but it is because this suspension is so stiff, which makes the ride comfort not as good, of course. The steering is a bit too sloppy, I think. You can play with it a bit too much for it to be exact. Don't get that much feeling when driving. Oh, we are in Sweden after all. Good with forward drive. It's the weight that does most of the work here, and it ruins most of the car. It's sportiness. And on these winter roads, you should take it a bit careful on exact this spot. I went down with a Mustang Mach-E once, so I'm a bit careful in that corner specifically, especially when it looks like this. And whoa, it's sliding. Back up again, and we're on it. I think it's time to draw some conclusions of this car. The first time when I drove the Skoda Enyaq, I think it was in summer 2022, I really enjoyed that car, and I have highly recommended that car to most people that have a family and need a family car. They don't want a Tesla, or they don't want anything special, they just want a good car. Then go for the Skoda Enyaq, have said. The problem was with battery preheating, especially in Sweden where we can have days like this. But now for 2024 this has been fixed, and also the new engines here are really good. I have done some consumption tests and they are at the top. This four-wheel drive did better in consumption than the XC40 new one for 2024 rear wheel drive. That's a good thing for Skoda Enyaq, I would say. And I would still, if you just want a good electric car that is not a Tesla or something that other than a Tesla, the Skoda Enyaq is a good car. The RS, yeah, it doesn't they don't have this cool factor that you want in a sports car. And to be fair, this goes fast in a straight line, but it doesn't do cornering very well. The RS is something I would go for because I love this color and I want to stick out because I'm a YouTuber. But otherwise I would just go for the normal Enyaq, to be fair. Yeah, I think I've said what I want to say. The Enyaq for 2024 is a good car and I highly recommend it. If you agree with me, or if you don't agree with me, please let me know in the comments down below. And if you want to see more about electric cars, make sure to subscribe. I am going to pick up a Volkswagen ID.7 after this one, and in maybe 2 weeks time I have my own Volvo EX30 that I will be taking a look at as well. And I'm also going to travel to Spain very soon to test out the new Renault Scenic. We'll be happy to check out that. So make sure to subscribe and I'll see you in another video. Goodbye.